Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Royal Nerd Gaming. I am your host, the Royal Nerd, and it's time to rank some more variants on our continued journey to eventually rank every variant in Marvel Snap. It's taken a while, you know? I can only do so many variants a week. And I keep adding new ones to the game. What the hell's that about? Don't they know I'm trying to do a thing here? Speaking of new variants, let's talk about this week's new card, Sage. Well, I say this week's new card. I'm not sure exactly when you're seeing this video, actually. Basically what happened is I used Premiere Pro to edit through Adobe, and there was a weird charge to the Adobe account, so we had to like cancel it, but that unfortunately canceled the whole account for the moment. So we're trying to fix that and figure out what that charge was. But at the moment, I don't have any editing software with which to make my videos, so I can record a bunch, but I can't edit. So I don't know when you're seeing this. I'm sorry, but I think it's gonna be a little late. But don't worry, it's coming. Well, I mean, when you're seeing it, it's already here. Hey, look, I did it. Everything must be fixed if you're seeing this. Well, let's talk about Sage. I don't know what week it is, but let's talk about Sage. That sounds fun, right? So who is Sage? Well, from my research, and by research I mean me typing "Who is Sage X-Men, what are her powers" into a Google search bar, it sounds like she's a really smart mutant. And when I say smart, I mean hyperintelligence is literally one of her superpowers. Her brain literally functions like a supercomputer. She can think of a billion different things at once and do all sorts of calculations and type on all these screens and do math, probably, you know? Whatever smart people do. I wouldn't know. I can only dream. I cannot stress how little time I spent looking into this, because that's not why we're here, right? We're here to take a look at the base card and judge if we can get a good idea of her and her characteristics just from looking at it. And I think we can. I think this is a very strong base card, actually. For one, Sage looks cool as hell. I love this outfit. It's giving very 90s hacker vibe, you know? She's gonna type on all of her screens and then look dead into the camera and be like, I'm in. That's the energy that this is giving me. And the card has a lot of energy. That's one of the things I really like about it. Considering that it boils down to a character typing on computer screens, could have been a very boring card. Does not sound like an exciting concept. But they've given a lot of life to it by keeping her on her feet, which is nice, so that she can turn quick and her coat can flap out in the wind as she types on multiple screens at once. But it doesn't look like she's overwhelmed. She's focused and knows exactly what she's doing. Gives us a great idea of her character and keeps you drawn in. I mean, I really like that she's standing. It's why I'm standing in my videos, you know? Keeps the viewers engaged. Gives me room to flail if I need it. I don't know what's going on with me today, guys. I'm feral. I also really like how prominent the color green is here. All the green holographic screens floating around her. It seems like that's the color that's the most associated with her, even though she's really not wearing any green at all. But it just makes sense, because I think we as a society have determined that the color green is the cool hacker color. Actually, that might be because of the Matrix. In fact, her whole vibe gives off a lot of Matrix comparisons. The leather outfit and the big trench coat and all the green. It's very Neo seeing the scrolling numbers and becoming one with the machine. God, I really sound like a nerd right now. Really living up to the name. Honestly, I might like this base card even more than Blink's, and I really liked Blink's base card. I like what they've been doing with the base cards lately. It's nice to feel like I can comfortably use the base card and feel like it looks cool, especially when so many of the new releases don't have that many variants to choose from. But yeah, Sage's base card is gonna get a very high A tier. And then we have Sage's only variant in the game, her Spotlight variant. Done, of course, by Alberto Del Lago, and Alberto has continued the trend of making variants that feel very similar to the base cards, in the sense that the setup is basically the same, you know, her typing on multiple screens at once, and it's the same outfit for her, but this is definitely the most different variant that Alberto has done so far, in terms of comparing them to the base cards, because the most noticeable difference here is that she's sitting now. That's a completely different pose, and that might not seem like a big deal, but it really gives the card a completely different energy. In the base card, it felt like Sage was moving very quickly, like she was turning from screen to screen and not even looking as she entered in a bunch of numbers, her coat flapping out behind her. It felt like a life or death situation that she'd get all this data entered in as fast as possible. Whereas here, it feels a lot calmer right away. It looks like she's considering, maybe calculating before she enters anything in. I don't know which portrayal is more appropriate for her character, but I can tell you that this one does feel less engaging to me. And I still really like the variant. There's lots of beautiful colors here. I mean, we've got every shade of green under the sky. We got some olive green, we got some neon green, a little bit of forest green here and there. The lighting is now sort of reflecting off of her outfit. I can't tell if her outfit is actually a different color, or if that's just the lighting giving it, and her hair even, that sort of like emerald shade, but that is beautiful. I really like how Alberto does coloring, but in terms of which card draws me in more, I think I'd lean more towards the base card, actually. Don't get me wrong, I still think it is a beautiful variant, like really well done, and I'm gonna give it an A tier. I just think that I lean more towards the base card. I really like its energy and how dynamic it feels, but I could totally see some people preferring the colors and design and overall aesthetic of Alberto's variant? Alberto, vert, like green, because it's green. Alberto's variant. Some people are gonna like Alberto's variant. It's personal preference, like all variants, but with these two especially, I think it applies. Oh boy, that one got away from me. But yeah, that's it for Sage. Now, let's get back to cost order and take a look at the strongest card we've seen yet, M'Baku. That's hilarious. So yeah, M'Baku's not the best card in the game, but how's his card art? Well, I think his base card here is fine. I mean, I like how M'Baku is depicted? God, I can't speak today. He looks good here. You really get a sense for the kind of warrior that he is. You know, with his shield in one hand and weapon in the other, fully armored and ready for combat, as he does a war cry. And I even like the design of his armor, but I do wish it was a different color. That's my big thing, and I know, it's always how it ends up being. It's like, the background's this color, so I wish their clothing was a different color. Here, I think it makes a little bit more sense. I mean, if he's a warrior, and sometimes maybe he needs to blend into his background a little bit, he lives in this sort of icy region, it would make sense that his armor matches the environment. But I feel like we could have accomplished that while still making it stand out a little bit better. And they did, you know what, they did a very good job in the movies, actually. Hang on, I'm gonna pull up an image. You see here? This feels like the exact same sort of shot, with the icy background behind him and him armored up and ready to go. Except the armor here, while still blue, is a darker blue. It lets him stand out a little bit more, makes him the focal point of the shot. I really like how they did it here, and I feel like if we'd used these kinds of colors in the base card, it would be even better. But as it stands, I think I'm just going to give the base card a C tier. And then we have Pixel M'Baku, and it's been a while since we've had any Pixels. Actually, I don't know if we had any Pixel variants last week, but yeah, it's our first Pixel in a bit. And I don't mind it. I actually kind of like this one. I mean, and I don't want to get hung up on this, but he stands out really well. They've really done exactly what I was looking for in the base card. We can still tell that the background is a sort of snowy environment. It's got very icy colors, feels cold. And then, by not using any shades of blue on him and relying more on like dark grays and browns, he stands out so well. I mean, it looks like he's popping out of the card, like he's coming right out of it to grab you. And I can even differentiate the different parts of his armor pretty well. I can tell which parts are fur and which parts are leather. The only thing that's a little finicky for me is his staff. Because it's at an angle and not just a straight line, it feels a little wonky. But I can forgive that. Overall, I actually think this is a pretty strong Pixel variant. This still wouldn't be my first choice for an M'Baku variant to use. I mean, well, none of them would be, because I don't use M'Baku. Who uses M'Baku? But if I was gonna, you know, I wouldn't mind this variant, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. This is probably the M'Baku variant I would use. I mean, I love Kale variants. I think that's how you say his name, Kale. He just has this amazing art style that's mostly black and white, and then picks one highlight color to make key parts of the character as well as the background. And there's a difference between the background and the color. Well, I mean, the color is orange. I don't know why I'm avoiding saying the word orange. But there's a difference between the orange of the background and the orange used on M'Baku himself. The orange of the background is brighter and more fiery. I mean, obviously more fiery. It's fire. It's making a fire effect. But the orange that he's used for M'Baku is darker and almost more of an orangish brown in some parts that makes sense for the color of the fur-lined parts of his armor. That's the part that Kale has chosen to emphasize, the fur on his armor, because he's not just a warrior, he's a hunter. And a pretty successful looking one at that, considering how much fur lining there is on his armor. And that also tells us that he's probably from somewhere cold, which we know, but you can even get that just from this variant, because those are the people that would dress in lots of fur and need to wear pelts, people that are from somewhere cold. Even though this card feels very warm and fiery, it's nice that you can appreciate those little details about M'Baku himself. Kale variants are just so visually striking and consistently beautiful, and this is probably my favorite M'Baku variant, so it's gonna get an S tier. And then we have M'Baku's Luchador variant, and we've seen a few of these now. I just don't think they're for me. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of wrestling as it is, but if you're gonna give me a wrestling variant, give me a really crazy outfit. Give me a crazy wrestling pose. I think it was Red Guardian that was going for like a flying knee kick. Give me the crowd going nuts in the background and the light shining down on them. Whereas here, the background, it's just green. It's just green. It's not even an especially nice green. And yeah, I get it. He's gonna, jump from the top rope. That's a thing that wrestlers do. Overall, he doesn't feel as cool or intimidating or threatening even. I mean, like in the base card, he roar, arms out, weapons in hand, ready to fight. Whereas here, he feels a lot more hunched over, like he's just got his elbows in. It doesn't feel as big as he is. It just feels less like roar and more like rawr. I like the gold embellishments in his outfit, but I mean, that's really it. Otherwise, it feels like a step down from his cool armor, and yeah, there's really not a lot else to say about this one. So I think this one's also gonna get a C tier. And then we have Venomized M'Baku, who, I don't know, feels like a bit of a weird character to venomize, to me at least. I feel like they usually venomize more mainstream characters with powerful abilities that Venom will take advantage of, like Spider-Man, Iron Man, I guess. M'Baku's he's just a dude, right? Just like a really buff dude. But that being said, I like this Venomized variant. Really, the only element of M'Baku that's still here is his outfit. I mean, there's not really a lot else because, again, he's just a guy. In this case, his outfit has been upgraded to this amazing, technologically advanced armor set. It looks so cool here, and it's definitely the highlight of the variant. This could easily just be Venom wearing a really cool set of armor. But you've got a few little details that let you know that it's M'Baku in there, like that iconic fur lining around the collar and on his arms, all torn up now, but it's still there. I don't know if I realized how much the fur lining was going to come up while we were talking about M'Baku, but I really like the design of the armor itself. And instead of putting him in an icy or snowy environment, it feels like he's somewhere very hot. It makes it so that the silvers and blues of the armor and the whites of the fur don't blend into the background. So I think he stands out really nicely. It's a cool looking set of armor, and it makes sense for what would happen if Venom got this character. I'm fine with this. You guys know that Venomized variants aren't my first choice, but in terms of design and aesthetic, I think this one is pretty nice, and I could totally see some people really liking it, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. Okay, now wait, hang on, this is the same armor that he had in the Venomized variant, so clearly this armor is notable in some way, like it's based on something, I'm assuming. It wasn't just like variant specific. And also they've made it cooler? His shoulder pauldrons, it's a skull! What? That's awesome! And I like that we actually see M'Baku, being himself in this armor. And also, what the hell's going on with his hands? Does he have powers? Does he get, cool armor with powers? Man, I know so unbelievably little. God, comics, they're just so dense. There's too much to ever know. He's got like an energy version of his fist wrapping around his hand and seems to be blasting out some energy out of the other side too. Either that or it's just like a really explosive props, literally will explode the other person. I'm not familiar with this artist especially, but the way that all of the colors work together, it just feels so smooth. Every color they've picked feels very vibrant and they work really well together. And then the background has this sort of snowy nature to it, but the silver and the blue, which are colors that feel like they could blend into a snowy sort of background, they don't. I want to know more about M'Baku just looking at this variant. I think I actually like this one even more than the Kale variant, so this one is also gonna be an S tier. And that's it for M'Baku. Overall, a lot of variants that kind of fell in the middle of the road for me, but then two there that are real standouts, and hopefully someday he gets some sort of adjustment that makes him a card worthy of these awesome variants. But in any case, let's move along to our next one drop, Misty Knight. So Misty Knight's base card here is wrong, actually. I've played a lot of High Evolutionary, and I've seen a lot of Misty Knights, and there's not this much white in it. Hang on, something's wrong with this picture. She's supposed to be in a room with a big computer, not floating in an empty white void with a big computer. That's weird. So, look at, where's, the camera's reversed. Look at this one, not that one. Hang on. Don't look at this one, yeah? Look at this one. I did it. I guess I could have just deleted the original one. Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. Hang on. So, Misty Knight. She's another character that I don't really know anything about. Ain't that a surprise? Man, I really don't have the credentials to be doing this series. But I actually hadn't even heard of her name before playing Marvel Snap. But just from looking at this, I get the idea that she's from the espionage side of Marvel. The S.H.I.E.L.D. and all the secret agents. Even this card seems to be placing her at some sort of observation surveillance desk where she was either looking at cameras of people or maybe she stumbled in here. She seems armed and ready for a fight, like she broke in and was hacking their computer system when someone snuck up on her and bam, she turns around with a gun. Also, she has a robot arm. Don't know the story behind that, but hey, that's cool. I bet we'll see that used in cool ways throughout her variants. It's a very notable part of her design. I also really like that her outfit feels very simple. I mean, it's probably not exactly cohesive to stealth. The bright red doesn't feel like it would blend in very well, but it definitely helps her stand out. And that's what I like to see in my characters. I really like her design. It feels very unique and kind of retro. She kind of feels like she's gonna go rollerblading, if I'm being honest. Except that she's got a gun and a robot arm, so clearly she means business, even if she is rollerblading. It's definitely a solid design as far as base cards go, although Misty Knight feels like one of those characters where you might need to do a little bit more to make her really interesting, at least for me. Like, I want to see her put into cool aesthetics or situations, and this feels very straightforward, so I'm gonna give it a B tier. I pressed that at the wrong time, and that took a while to show up. And it's the white one with the weird void. I'm not fixing it right now. You guys know what it's supposed to look like. It's a B tier. Hey, another pixel variant. And I don't think I like this one as much as M'Baku's. I mean, it's alright. I like her pose. It's very secret agent, leaned up against the brick wall with the gun ready to go. I mean, it does make it so that the background isn't the most visually interesting, but it does the job. I think my biggest issue with this one is her outfit. We just saw on the base card that sometimes she'll wear like a red tank top and red pants, and that's such a unique look. And red is such a great striking color. But here they've opted for this sort of gray jumpsuit with red stripes, and I mean, I feel like this could work too, except that in this simplified design, the gray of her jumpsuit really kind of matches the gray of her robot arm, which kind of matches the gray of her gun. Oh yeah, and I didn't even remember that her robot arm is gold in the base card. I mean, give her the gold robot arm here. Clearly that's part of her design sometimes, and that wouldn't blend in with the gray suit and the gray gun. I just feel like there were so many other options here, and details like that, like a gold robot arm, feels very unique. Why not make use of that? Yeah, this pixel one let me down a little bit, so it's gonna get a C tier. And then we have the Misty Knight Captain variant. And here she's wearing the black and red suit again, with the silver arm, so I guess the silver arm just goes with this outfit. I still think the pixel variant should have used the red outfit with the gold arm. Still, you can tell the difference here between the silver and the black, and that makes a difference. And then of course we have Captain America's shield, kind of the focal point of this variant, and can I just ask, is there anyone who wasn't Captain America at some point? I mean, that shield just feels like it shows up everywhere. It's like, hey, that guy? He was Captain America at one point. Yeah. That guy down the street works at the bakery? He was Captain America at one point. That's crazy. But I will say, she makes it look really good. I mean, I love the gun in one hand and the shield in the other. The way the sun is like right behind her, illuminating her entirely, this variant feels so bright, even though her outfit is so dark. And that is what Captain America should feel like. So if she's taking on that mantle at the moment, it makes sense that people would want to look up to her. That's literally what we're doing from this camera angle. We are looking up at her, brandishing the shield like a symbol of hope. That feels very appropriate. I've mentioned before that I usually like to pick a variant that makes a character look cool because of their own unique features, and not because they're borrowing traits from other heroes. It's one of the reasons that I don't love the Venom variants. I want to see the characters look cool as themselves, not as Venom. But I also understand that different hero titles have been passed down through different characters, and so while it might not be my first choice for a Misty Knight variant, I gotta admit that it looks really good, so I'm gonna give it an A tier. And then we have Misty Knight's Chibi variant, and this is actually the variant that I use in my high Evo deck. It is so pretty to look at. I mean, I'm usually a little back and forth on the Chibi variants, but this one is one of my favorites. The purple clouds in the sky, let's start with those. That doesn't make any sense. Why are the clouds purple? I don't know if there's actually a reason, or if they just decided to give the card a little bit of a unique striking detail, but it works to really just draw you in with a bright, vibrant color. I love my bright, vibrant colors, and it serves to make the world around her feel a little bit more mysterious. It makes sense when she's kind of a secret agent-y character. Then we have Misty Knight herself, who, of course, is adorable in the chibi art style, but there's a lot of really great details about her design as well. First of all, her hair is so much fun, so big and fluffy, like cartoonishly large. And then you have her big eyes, and yes, the golden robotic arm. I think that is such a unique design. Everyone's got a silver robotic arm. Hers is golden, and it glimmers in the light. Glimmers like her big hoop earrings. That's so fun. And she's flexing the robot arm. I mean, cool pose. If it has a big muscle, though, that doesn't really feel like she can take the credit for that. It's a robotic arm, but listen, I love the pose, and I just love the design of this card overall. So this is going to be Misty Knight's first S tier. I mean, I don't usually expect a lot out of the chibi variants or the baby variants, anything in that sort of style. They can all feel very samey to me, but I love to be surprised when one comes around with unique and fun colors and really cool design choices, and this is absolutely one of them. And here we have Misty Knight's sports variant. Sports. Who plays sports? I'm a gamer. I don't play sports, unless it's FIFA. I don't play FIFA or Madden or anything. I don't like the sports games. It's all the same game every year. What are we doing here, you know? I'm way off track. Anyway, the sports variants are weird to me. It's weird to put a character in a sports setting when I could see them fighting an alien. That feels infinitely cooler, but hey, for some of the characters, it can be like, oh, that's kind of fun. You know, Rock Slide is a good example, where he's throwing a rock. It's a shot put. He's doing shot put, and you're like, because he throws rocks. That makes sense for him. But Misty Knight here, she's just throwing a baseball. That doesn't feel like it has anything especially to do with her. I guess because she's got the robotic arm, so she can throw the baseball extra good. I like that her uniform is inspired by her red outfit, though I like it better when it's not a baseball uniform. And we've got her gold arm here, although it doesn't feel like it stands out as well as it has in some of the other variants. Here it feels more bronze, and it's still cool that it's not just a generic silver robotic arm, but I do wish that it was a little bit more shiny, you know? The background is fine. She stands out really well against it, and it's got kind of a green hue to it, so it's complementary art. I still think that it's a little plain. It's just sky, and then a little bit of the stands in the back where you can see the audience, and then, of course, we've got her in this absolutely wild pose, chucking a baseball. I mean, I know that is how the pitchers do it. They really put their whole body into it to get that ball going, but in terms of actually capturing this freeze frame moment, she looks crazy. I kind of want to try and replicate it, but also I don't think it would look great on the thumbnail. I might use M'Baku where I was doing the... But you know what, I'll try and replicate this for you guys, but this one's not going on the thumbnail. Okay, so head over, arm kind of down, and then, and this is key, leg up. Holy crap. Alright, there, that's pretty good. Hang on. What if I just tried to do like a full... the pitching motion? Maybe my body would just go with it, you know? Okay, here we go. Ready? I'm okay. Anyway, Misty Knight throwing a baseball is gonna get a C tier for me. So let's move on. And then we have Misty Knight's Noir variant, and you know me, I love the Noir variants, and this one's no exception. It is just so atmospheric. And as one of the more espionage-based characters, it just makes sense for her. I mean, she fits really well into this sort of dark and mysterious vibe. Her arm is really a highlight in this variant. It's not the gold version, but I don't mind that because I think the silver kind of fits the setting more, and because of that, it's kind of reflecting light, so it's more visible than the rest of her, and we can really appreciate all the details to it. I mean, feels like it's got a lot more depth and intricate pieces in this variant than any of the other ones. She's traded out her red outfit for a red suit. Love that. Love when my characters look all cool and formal. And yeah, we can't see too much of the suit, but from what we can see, she's got like a nice red lapel, feels like it's a good red blazer. That's specially missing an arm for her robotic arm, so it's custom tailored. You've even got that iconic lighting in the background, you know, in like noir movies when the light is shining in through the blinds, making those streaks along the wall. That is iconic detective noir stuff, and I love when they sprinkle those little details into the background of these variants. I haven't seen this variant in my shop yet, but if I do, oh, it's gonna be a real tough choice deciding between this one and the Chibi variant, but this one is also definitely an S tier. And finally, we have Misty Knight's July 4th variant, and this one, it's just fun. Like, it's just a really fun variant. She looks like she's having a great time, holding a sparkler, making a cool little lighting effect. The fireworks going off in the background all add some really brilliant lighting to this variant, and just look gorgeous, make a very nice background setting that she stands out really well against in her bright red outfit. I really like this shade of red they've chosen for her outfit, and I'm really glad they went for the red outfit here. I think it just stands out so nicely against this background and adds to the sort of fun and bright nature of this variant. I don't have a lot else to say about this one, other than that it's bright and vibrant and fun, and sometimes you just want to see your characters in bright and vibrant colors having fun, so I'm going to give this one an A tier. And there you go, another tier list down, and without a single variant in D tier. That's a first. There really wasn't any variants that I was like, ugh, no, really not for me. Overall, it was a good collection of them that all had some unique features that I could appreciate. Now, let me get out of your way here and clear out the spares so we can start wrapping up. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're still enjoying this series as much as I am enjoying making it. I mean, it's just such a fun and unique way to look at Marvel Snap, a game that I love, and really appreciate the art and talent that goes into making it. So, if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're notified when the next part comes out. It might not be right on time, going by my track record, but I will get to it. Next week, we'll be starting off looking at Namora, I think, so hopefully, I'll see you then. Farewell for now, everybody, and have a nice day.